Hello, and a very warm welcome to all the students of Europe Hotel School. I specialize in AI and modern hospitality operations, and it's truly a pleasure to be with you on this part of your online learning journey. We are absolutely here to support your professional growth, especially as you get ready to lead in this incredibly dynamic industry. So with that, let's dive right in. This philosophy right here, it's really the heart of everything we're going to cover. Think about it. In hospitality, the second you feel like you've made it, that you've perfected everything, is the exact moment you start falling behind. Excellence isn't some finish line you cross. It's a moving target. And embracing this idea of a continuous journey, well, that's the secret sauce. It's what keeps a hotel service feeling fresh and stops things from getting stale in an industry that is always changing.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the unending journey of improvement. Then, we'll get into the foundation, which is all about awareness and feedback. After that, we'll look at the accelerators, learning and tech. Then, we'll tackle the culture itself, focusing on mistakes and milestones. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together in a thriving hotel ecosystem. Consider this your roadmap for today.
Okay, let's jump into our first section, the unending journey. This is all about why constant refinement isn't just a nice to have, it's completely non-negotiable. So what happens if we just stop trying to get better? Well, that's what complacency looks like, and it is dangerous. Your service standards start to stagnate. Your daily operations become outdated and clunky, and pretty soon you completely fail to meet what your guests actually expect. And in the world we live in now, with all this new technology, being unable to adapt, that's not just a minor issue. It's a direct threat to your hotel's reputation, and honestly, it's survival. So where do we start this journey? Well, like any strong building, it starts with a solid foundation. And for us, that means building a culture of awareness and feedback. It's a simple truth. You can't fix a problem you don't even know you have. That's why everything starts with awareness. A team just can't evolve if it isn't paying attention to itself. And this is where things like daily briefings or end-of-shift debriefs come in. They aren't just meetings to check a box. No, they're critical moments for self-observation. It's in those quiet moments of reflection that you find the real opportunities to get better. And look how simple this can be. Just imagine ending a really hectic shift and asking your team this one single question. It's not about pointing fingers or placing blame. Not at all. It's about finding out where the friction is. And let me tell you, the answers you get from your frontline team, the ones who are actually dealing with these slowdowns, those answers are gold. They're often the most powerful and practical solutions that leadership, from their perspective, might never ever see. Now, for any of this to work, people have to feel safe enough to speak up. And that means we have to understand the massive difference between criticism and feedback. Criticism is personal. It feels like an attack, it blames, and it just makes people shut down. But feedback is a tool for growth. It's observational, it's respectful, and its entire purpose is to strengthen the team. It's how you get colleagues to act like coaches for each other instead of critics. Okay, so we've got our foundation in place. Now, let's talk about the accelerators, the things that are going to power our progress. We're talking about learning and technology. So often, we think of training as something you do when someone messes up. We need to flip that idea on its head. Training isn't a punishment for weak performers. It should be seen as a reward, a real development opportunity. It's an investment that expands your team's confidence and skills. I mean, even your most senior, most experienced people can get huge value from a refresher workshop on, say, guest psychology or mastering their tone. This is how you build a powerhouse team. And then, of course, there's technology. It's so easy for people to see it as a threat, right? Something that's going to replace jobs. But the best hotel operations out there, they see technology as a partner. The right tech doesn't get rid of human service, it supercharges it. It handles all those repetitive, boring tasks so your team can focus on what they do best, creating amazing, personal experiences for your guests. The trick is to get on board early and really lead your team through that change. All right, now we're getting to the real core of it all, the culture. You can think of culture as the operating system for your hotel. It's the human element that runs in the background of everything. And a great culture is all about turning mistakes into milestones. So when a mistake happens, and they will, the absolute key is to have a process that is 100% blame-free. The question should never be, who messed up? It should always be, why did this happen? You analyze the event, you dig for the root cause. Was the protocol unclear? Was the handover between shifts incomplete? Whatever it is, you use that insight to fix the system. And just like that, every single mistake is transformed into an incredible learning opportunity for the whole team. But listen, it can't all be about analyzing what went wrong. That's exhausting. Celebrating progress is every bit as important as finding the gaps. Because if you're only ever focused on problems, your team culture just gets drained. It's that positive reinforcement, celebrating the wins, that makes good communication habits actually stick and become second nature. And what kind of moments are we talking about? Well, things like this. When that massive group arrival goes perfectly smoothly, you need to celebrate that. When you get a guest review that specifically mentions how amazing the communication was between departments, you share that with everyone. This kind of recognition is literally the fuel that powers a culture of continuous improvement. Okay, this brings us to the payoff. We've talked about the foundation, the accelerators, the culture. Now let's see what happens when it all comes together. Let's look at the ultimate goal, creating a thriving ecosystem. And for that ecosystem to really work, you need what we call shared ownership. This isn't just a top-down thing. It's a true partnership. Leadership provides the vision and the resources, but the agents on the front line, they bring the real-world feedback and the brilliant ideas. It's everyone's job to make things better. When you have that, there's no room for hierarchy or fear to get in the way of a great idea. And once you get that flow, once communication is really moving freely throughout the hotel, well, that's when things start to get really interesting. The whole dynamic starts to change. Suddenly, all that day-to-day friction just melts away. Stress levels go way down. And you know what rushes in to fill that space? Real, powerful teamwork. People start supporting each other. The whole place just becomes a better, more effective place to work. And this isn't just about good vibes. We're talking about real, measurable results. You'll see fewer mistakes, which of course leads to better guest reviews. Your team satisfaction will shoot up, which means less turnover. And your overall efficiency improves, which has a direct impact on the bottom line. This is the real, tangible ROI for investing in communication. What you're left with, in the end, is something truly special. The hotel stops being a bunch of separate departments just trying to get through the day. It transforms into a living, breathing ecosystem where everyone supports each other, everyone grows together, and everyone works as one to create something amazing for the guests. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Building this kind of culture isn't magic. It's a choice. It takes real dedication from the top and total commitment from every single person on the team. So as you go forward into your careers, the question you need to ask yourselves is, are you ready to build the kind of place where an entire team can really, truly shine together?